Meine Tochter zweifelt das ein bisschen an.
But when I'm studying the Bible and I'm looking at the structure of the book,
Und wenn ich die Bibel studiere und mir die Struktur des Buches anschaue,
it's like a silent clue.
dann ist das wie so ein stiller, schweigender Kleber.
Because in the structure, the author has chosen like what they're going to put in and exactly how they're going to put it in.
Denn in der Struktur haben die Leute sich ausgesucht, was sie da reinschreiben und genau wie sie es machen.
And you have to look for it or you won't even see it.
Und diese Struktur muss man suchen, sonst überliest man die einfach.
Especially when it's a chiasm.
Vor allem, wenn es dieser Chiasmus ist.
Because in the Hebrew world,
Denn in der hebräischen Welt
they would write in this way. A lot.
haben die so oft geschrieben.
Whole books, small paragraphs, and they were everywhere.
Die haben das mit ganzen Büchern gemacht, mit kleinen Paragraphen, überall.
And you have to look to say, okay, those two things match, these two things match, what's in the middle?
Und dann müsst ihr gucken, okay, diese Teil am Anfang passt jetzt mit dem am Ende und was ist dann in der Mitte?
Because that's the most important thing.
Denn das ist ja das in der Mitte ist das
And
Wichtigste.
the author doesn't say at that point, I am now going to write the most important thing that I'm trying to say, so please read carefully.
Und der Autor sagt dann nicht, ich schreibe das Wichtigste in diesem Buch, was da drin steht, also lest. Super.
And so that's my favorite, to like look at the structure. What's the secret kind of hidden thing that's in there that I can find?
Und das ist mein Liebstes, einfach diese Struktur zu erfinden und dann das zu finden, was der Autor betonen wollte.
But it's not a secret, it's not hidden to the readers, just to us, because we don't know how to read that way.
Für den damaligen Leser war das eben kein Geheimnis, war es nicht verborgen, sondern wahrscheinlich nur für uns heute, weil wir heute nicht mehr so lesen.
So, Esther,
Also Esther
it's a chiasm.
ist als ganz gut ist ein Chiasmus.
And it's also awesome,
Und es ist noch sehr cool.
but I'll show you the chiasm after.
Den Chiasmus zeige ich euch später.
So, why do you think Esther was written?
Warum denkt ihr, Esther wurde geschrieben?
Now, let's think about it for a second.
Okay, wir denken da ein bisschen drüber nach.
Where is it? It's here.
Also Esther ist da.
Okay, so temple's built.
Also der Tempel ist schon gebaut.
They're worshiping God in the temple with sacrifices.
Der Tempel
Right,
wird
at this
neu,
point, back in Jerusalem.
zurück in Jerusalem.
These people are in Susa,
Und diese Leute, die sind gerade in Susa. Susa ist where?
in Persia.
Und Susa ist in Persien.
Do you think that they're hearing about what's happening in Jerusalem, the Jewish people?
Und denkt ihr, die hören, was in Jerusalem gerade passiert?
No.
No? Don't think so?
Yeah.
Some of you think that they are?
Yeah.
Well, we could probably say they probably know something.
Und man könnte sagen, ja, ein bisschen was wissen sie wahrscheinlich.
Because in Nehemiah we see how, Nehemiah is cupbearer to the king, but his brother comes and tells him what's happening in Jerusalem.
Ich glaube, Nehemiah war eng beim König, aber sein Bruder kommt aus Jerusalem und sagt ihm, was da passiert.
So even though it was a far distance,
Und auch wenn das eine große Distanz
it took
war,
them 4 months to travel,
und es hat ja 4 Monate gebraucht von Jerusalem bis Susa,
that doesn't mean that they didn't.
das heißt nicht, dass sie das nicht gemacht haben.
Because we do see an example right there of somebody who comes to tell him the news of what's happening in Jerusalem.
Denn wir haben ja Beispiele, wo wir sehen, dass Leute gekommen sind und ihnen sagt, was in Jerusalem passiert ist.
And there would have been people whose family was still over here.
Und es gibt auch Leute, wo ihre Familie noch in Jerusalem ist
So
oder da.
probably in this part of the world they know what's going on a little bit.
Und wahrscheinlich in diesem Teil der Welt
In Persia.
in Persien wussten sie, was in Jerusalem passiert.
And probably in Jerusalem they know what's going on with their fellow Jews in Persia too.
Und die wussten wahrscheinlich auch, was in Jerusalem mit ihren jüdischen Mitgenossen passiert.
And at this time,
Und zu dem Zeitpunkt
they start celebrating a feast
fangen die an, was zu feiern.
called, anybody know?
Und wie wisst ihr, wie das heißt? Für das Time, also in dem Zeitpunkt von dem Buch von Esther, zu der Zeit, zu dem Zeitpunkt. The time of the book of Esther, more or less.
They start celebrating a specific Jewish feast.
Da fangen die ein spezielles jüdisches Fest an.
Yeah. I hear, ah! Purim, yes.
Purim.
Aha, good. So right at this time, the Jewish people start celebrating Purim.
Und zu diesem Zeitpunkt fangen die Leute an, dieses Purim-Fest zu feiern.
And that comes from the word, when Mordecai casts the lot of dice to decide what's the day going to be that they kill all the Jews.
Und wisst ihr noch, als Mordecai, ich glaube, der hat sogar die Würfel oder Lose geworfen, wann der Tag sein sollte, wann alle Juden getötet werden sollten.
It's that dice that's called pure, and so that's where Purim comes from.
Und diese Würfel sind Kippur genannt und deswegen leitet sich der Name des Festes davon ab.
So, they start celebrating this feast.
Und die
Purim.
fangen an, dieses Fest zu feiern.
They continue celebrating Purim to this day.
Und bis heute wird das gefeiert.
So, how did this story of why they celebrate the festival of Purim get transmitted to the people over here in Jerusalem?
Und wie wurde jetzt die Geschichte zu den Leuten in Jerusalem übertragen, warum sie das Fest feiern?
Because Jews in Jerusalem continued also to celebrate this holiday.
Denn was wirklich passiert ist, dass die Juden in Jerusalem angefangen haben, dieses Fest zu feiern.
Das war eine Anordnung fürs ganze Persische Reich.
And there was a decree for the whole of the Persian Empire.
Mm-hmm. Good. And if that was me and I was in Jerusalem and I hear about this Jewish festival we're now all celebrating,
Und wenn ich jetzt in Jerusalem wäre und ich höre von diesem jüdischen Fest, das alle feiern,
I might want to know why.
dann würde ich mich fragen, warum.
What's the story behind this festival?
Warum feiert man das jetzt? Was ist
How
der
did God
Kontext?
save the Jewish people in the Persian Empire that aren't here in Jerusalem?
Wie hat denn Gott die jüdischen Leute gerettet im Persischen Reich, die gerade nicht hier sind?
And what if I had a book that I could read, a letter that came from Persia?
Aber was wäre dann, wenn ich ein Buch hätte, das von Persien gekommen ist, das ich dann lesen könnte?
Because somehow we have this book,
Denn wir haben ja dieses Buch.
which means it got preserved.
Das heißt, es wurde aufbewahrt.
So that means that it had to have been copied,
Also muss das kopiert worden sein.
it had to have been kept safe,
Es muss sicher aufbewahrt worden sein.
and probably had to be spread around
Und wahrscheinlich hat sich das ausgebreitet.
quite a bit
Das sogar viel.
for there to still be a copy of Esther today.
Und damit es heute immer noch eine Kopie von Esther gibt.
So that is one of the main reasons that people think Esther was written, was just to explain why is there this feast of Purim.
Und das war eben der Hauptgrund, warum Esther geschrieben wurde, um das Fest zu erklären, warum es das Purimfest gibt.
And also, of course, we see God's sovereign hand in it.
Natürlich sehen wir auch Gottes souveräne Hand in dem Buch.
We see a lot of times things in the story go, that wasn't expected, but God did something there.
Und oft in dem Buch, in der Geschichte, sehen wir Wendungen in der Geschichte, wo wir sagen, das hätte ich jetzt nicht erwartet, doch Gott hat da wahrscheinlich was gemacht.
And you look like you have a question.
Jemand hat es sieht so aus, als hätte er eine Frage.
No, not a question, but just I thought that it would be very special to them that now one woman from them is now the queen of the of that king that
Yeah.
once pressed.
Wanted to kill everybody. Wanted to kill.
No, but they got her as slaves, and now one of
She's
them
in charge.
she's in charge.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is something special, I guess.
Und das, was sehr erstaunlich ist, dass jemand, also eine Jüdin jetzt, die Königin von diesem ehemaligen Unterdrücker
Ja.
ist. Also die Ehefrau.
That's a really good observation.
So wie Josef.
Das ist eine gute Beobachtung, like Joseph.
Yeah, it's very similar to that. Yeah.
Also,
And you can imagine, if you think of, like in this story is a lot of irony.
und in der Geschichte ist viel Ironie.
A lot of things that you think, like that shouldn't have happened and it does.
Und zum Beispiel, der denkt, das sollte jetzt nicht passiert sein, aber es ist passiert.
And the fact that Esther is the queen is very ironic because they did go there as slaves, just like in Joseph.
Und die Tatsache, dass Esther die Königin ist auch irgendwie ein bisschen ironisch, denn sie sind ja als Sklaven hingegangen.
Actually, the story of the Exodus and everything about it is repeated in this exile and going back to the land and rebuilding the promised land. They're almost mirror images of each other.
Denn eigentlich ist die Geschichte des Exodus, Auszug aus Ägypten, spiegelt sich wieder in dieser Geschichte, die jetzt gerade stattfindet, dass wir wieder zurück nach Jerusalem gehen und alles wieder aufbauen.
Of course, there's differences.
Natürlich gibt es Unterschiede.
Joseph was before they had the Exodus and Esther's after, and so it's a bit
Zum Beispiel
mixed, but
Joseph oder Jacob?
Joseph.
Ja, Entschuldigung. Also Joseph war vorher, bevor sie den Exodus hatten, und Esther ist jetzt, nachdem sie den Exodus hatten, aber ein paar Parallelen gibt es.
But this picture of freedom from slavery
Aber dieses Bild von der Freiheit von der Sklaverei,
is a theme that runs throughout all of Scripture.
das geht durch die ganze Schrift.
We did an Old Testament theology course in Kiev.
In unserem Kiew, da haben wir einen altes-testamentliche Theologiekurs gemacht.
And when you start looking for that theme in Scripture, it's just everywhere.
Und wenn du anfängst, dieses Thema in der Schrift zu beobachten, merkst du, es findet sich überall wieder.
Right to Jesus being the ultimate Passover lamb.
Bis, wenn du zu Jesus gehst und er ist das ultimative Passa-Lamm, das geschlachtet
And when
wird.
you're reading the New Testament, just watch for that. Like how often it talks about them breaking the chains of slavery, the yoke that you've been free. It's awesome.
Und wenn ihr ins Neue Testament kommt, dann guckt man da drauf, wie oft sie die Ketten der Sklaverei brechen und es ist vollbracht. Das ist super.
Question.
No, it's not a question. It's just an observation regarding what Ines said about Esther being the queen. At the same time, from what we read or what I noticed, Esther was this type that probably kind of didn't know what to do. Like, it seems like Mordecai is the one telling her what to do all the time, how to do it. Because even when she was the queen, when the destruction was coming about, she was so relaxed. Like Mordecai has to press on that.
Yeah.
You
Eine
yourself.
Beobachtung ist zum Beispiel, dass Esther manchmal nicht wirklich wusste, was sie tun sollte. Deswegen hat Mordecai sie beraten und so weiter.
So I don't think her position as a queen would have been any helpful as much without Mordecai or without the influence of Mordecai. Because it seems like she's kind of doesn't have like will force, like.
Yeah.
Und deswegen würde ich sagen, okay, ihre Position als Königin wäre vielleicht nicht so wirksam, ohne den Mordecai, der sie ihr geholfen hat.
But
Yeah,
of
that's a
course
great
she
observation.
responded well.
Yep. It definitely in this book it does present Mordecai as being the one who really pushes her.
Und Mordecai wird wirklich in dem Buch präsentiert als derjenige, der sie nach vorne gebracht hat.
And it could be a lot of different reasons why. I mean, culturally, would this book have been included if there wasn't a man behind the female as well?
Und kulturell wäre das Wutke oder Wutke?
It may not have been.
Also es wäre wahrscheinlich nicht kulturell integriert gewesen, wenn da kein Mann hinter Esther gestanden hätte, der sie beraten hat.
Or if Mordecai was one writing it or somebody following him, I mean, he would also emphasize his role in the story.
Zum Beispiel, wenn Mordecai es geschrieben hat, hätte wahrscheinlich noch mehr seine Rolle betont.
But it's also ironic that ultimately it's the female that saves the Jews.
Da war es irgendwie auch ironisch, dass gerade die Frau diejenige ist, die Juden rettet.
And there's a lot of different reasons you'd ask why.
Und du kannst dich an verschiedene Stellen gibt es, wo du fragen kannst, warum.
What would the original readers have thought?
Was waren die Gedanken der ursprünglichen Leser?
There's a lot to think about.
Da gibt es viel drüber nachzudenken.
You could spend a whole week studying this.
Du kannst die ganze Woche verbringen, Esther zu
Ich habe
studieren.
auch noch eine Frage, kann es auch eine Verbindung sein, weil Esther eben, warum eine Frau Königin? Und zwar, das ist schon viel früher gewesen, in der Zeit König Nebuchadnezzar, also die Sache, die ich letzte Woche gelesen habe, da war auch der Fokus drauf, oder so wie ich das verstanden habe, dass Gott jeder zum König berufen kann. Ja? Also er kann aus jedem einen König machen, es ist in seiner Macht. Und jetzt zeigt er eigentlich auch mit Esther, dass er auch eine Jüdin und eine Frau, wo eben damals von der Kultur anders war, wie das demonstriert eigentlich auch das, was er alles vorher schon gesagt hat.
So is it not like there's a connection that Esther is the queen now, and the connection with the Old Testament, the stories that God can call everybody to be a king, and He's bringing them in this position, and the rest of
Er kann eben seinen König berufen und König wegnehmen.
Ja,
Das ist
so
sehr
he-
viel Herrschaft. Ne?
Yeah, so He can put people to be a king and also to set them up again, also to take them away again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you see that it is God who is in charge of all of this in this book.
Genau, also du siehst auf jeden Fall, dass Gott ist in Kontrolle über alles, was in dem Buch passiert.
Turn to chapter 4, verse
Und
14.
jetzt gehen wir mal Esther 4,14.
It says, "For if you keep silent at this time," Mordecai's talking to Esther, "relief and deliverance will rise for the Jews from another place, but you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this."
Denn wenn du zu dieser Zeit schweigen wirst, so wird eine Hilfe und Errettung von einem anderen Ort her den Juden erstehen. Du aber und deines Vaters Haus, ihr werdet umkommen. Und wer weiß, ob du nicht gerade um diese Zeit willen zur königlichen Würde gekommen bist.
Here Mordecai is showing his faith that God is going to keep his covenant whether you do it or not. God is in control here. Right?
Und hier sagt Mordecai, egal ob du jetzt dein Glauben oder deine Treue hältst, Gott bleibt treu und er macht es.
So again, we come back to the main message of all of these post-exilic books, and that is God is sovereign over history.
Jetzt haben wir hier wieder erneut die Hauptbotschaft von allen postexilischen Propheten, dass Gott souverän ist über alles.
You might be getting tired of hearing that message.
Vielleicht habt ihr schon sehr oft gehört, dass ihr
God's in control of your
souverän
life. Make a
Aber
timeline. See how he's been at work.
Gott ist in Kontrolle, macht eine Zeitlinie, seht, wie Gott in Kontrolle ist.
But that is what these post-exilic books talk about a lot.
Aber das ist ein Hauptthema in den postexilischen Propheten.
I thought we would end before going to the break to just watch a short video.
Ich glaube, wir würden gerne mit einem kurzen Video aufhören, bevor wir in die Kaffeepause gehen.
I know you guys have seen a lot of these Bible Project videos.
Ich glaube, ihr habt schon viele von
Maybe
diesen
some of them.
Bible Project Videos gesehen.
Some of them are really good, some of them aren't the best.
Einige von denen sind echt gut, andere sind nicht die besten.
But I like this one because it shows the chiasm really clearly in pictures, so I thought you guys could appreciate the structure of this book.
Ich mag das, weil es den Chiasmus sehr gut zeigt und ich
And
mag die Struktur des Buches.
the only problem with it is it's only in English, I'm
Und
sorry.
das einzige Problem ist nur in Englisch. Aber
They don't have the subtitles in German for this video.
es gibt noch keine Untertitel in Deutsch.
But I will put the subtitles on in English so at least you can read along if you can read better than you can
Aber ich stelle
understand.
die Untertitel ein in Englisch, deswegen könnt ihr mitlesen.
And if not, you can just follow along with the pictures and it's pretty clear, I think.
Und wenn nicht, dann könnt ihr eigentlich nur die Bilder angucken. Das ist auch ziemlich klar.
The Book of Esther, one of the more exciting and curious books in the Bible. The story is set over 100 years after the Babylonian exile of the Israelites from their land. And while some Jews did return to Jerusalem, remember Ezra and Nehemiah, many did not. And so the Book of Esther is about a Jewish community living in Susa, the capital city of the ancient Persian Empire. The main characters in the story are two Jews, Mordecai and then his niece Esther. And then there's the king of Persia, who's something of a drunken pushover in the story. And then there's the Persian official Haman, the cunning villain. Now this is a curious book in the Bible, mainly for the fact that God is never even mentioned, not once. Which might strike you as kind of odd. I mean, isn't the Bible about God? But this is a brilliant technique by the author, who's anonymous, by the way. It's an invitation to read this story looking for God's activity, and there are signs of it everywhere. The story is full of very odd coincidences and ironic reversals, and it all forces you to see God's purpose at work, but behind the scenes. Let's just dive into the story. The book opens with the king of Persia throwing two elaborate banquet feasts that last a total of 187 days. And it's all for the grandiose purpose of displaying his greatness and splendor. On the last day of the banquet feast, he's really drunk, and he demands that his wife, Queen Vashti, appear at the party to show off her beauty. She refuses, and so in a drunken rage, the king deposes Vashti and makes the silly decree that all Persian men should now be the masters of their own homes. Then he holds a beauty pageant because he wants to find a new queen. This is like a really bad soap opera. But it's right here that we're introduced to Esther and Mordecai. Esther hides her Jewish identity and enters the beauty pageant and wins. And the king is so obsessed with Esther that he elevates her to become the new queen of Persia. Now after this, and even more serendipitous, is the fact that Mordecai just happens to overhear two royal guards plotting to murder the king. And so he informs Esther, who in turn informs the king, and Mordecai gets credit for saving the king's life. Now right here from the beginning, God's not mentioned anywhere. But this all seems providentially ordered. What is it that God's up to? You have to keep reading. We're next introduced to Haman, who's not actually a Persian. He's called an Agagite. He's a descendant of the ancient Canaanites. Remember 1 Samuel chapter 15. The king elevates Haman to the highest position in the kingdom, and he demands that everybody kneel before Haman. Well, when Mordecai sees Haman, he refuses to kneel, which of course fills Haman with rage. And when he finds out that Mordecai is Jewish, Haman successfully persuades the king to enact this crazy decree to destroy all of the Jewish people. And to decide the date of the Jews' annihilation, Haman rolls the dice. A die is called pur in Hebrew. Tuck that away for later. 11 months later, on the 13th of Adar, all the Jews will die. Haman and the king then have a drinking banquet to celebrate their really horrible decision. So the focus now turns to Mordecai and Esther, who are the only hope for the Jewish people. They make a plan that Esther is going to reveal her Jewish identity to the king and ask him to reverse the decree. But approaching the king without a royal request is, according to Persian law, an act worthy of death. So in a key statement, Mordecai is confident that even if Esther remains silent, that deliverance for the Jews will arrive from another place. And then Mordecai wonders aloud. He says, who knows? Maybe you become queen for this very moment. Esther responds with bravery, and she purposes to go to the king with her amazing words, if I perish, I perish. Now in what unfolds, we watch the ironic reversal of all of Haman's evil plans. So Esther hosts the king and Haman at a first banquet, and she says that she wants to make a special request of both of them at an exclusive banquet the following day. So Haman leaves the banquet totally drunk, and he sees Mordecai in the street. He fumes with anger, and he orders that a tall stake be built so that Mordecai can be impaled upon it in the morning. It seems like things can't get any worse for the Jews and for Mordecai. But all of a sudden, the story pivots. It just so happens that night, the king, he can't sleep, and he has the royal chronicles read to him, a good bedtime reading, and he just happens to hear about how Mordecai had saved the king's life. He had totally forgotten. So in the morning, Haman enters to request Mordecai's execution, and the king in that moment orders Haman to honor Mordecai publicly for saving his life. So now Haman has to lead Mordecai around the city on a royal horse, telling everyone to praise him. Now this moment in the story is a pivot for the whole book. It begins Haman's downfall and Mordecai's rise to power. Watch how this works. The day after is Esther's second banquet. So the king and Haman arrive, and Esther informs the king that first of all she's Jewish, and second that Haman has enacted a decree to murder her, and to murder Mordecai, who saved his life, and to murder all of the Jews. Now the king's had a lot to drink, so when he hears this news, he goes into yet one more drunken rage, and he orders that Haman be impaled on the very stake he made for Mordecai. It's ironic and a grisly way for Haman to go. Haman's execution, however, doesn't solve the problem of the decree to kill all of the Jews. So the focus now turns to Esther and Mordecai as they make a plan to reverse the decree. They discover that the king can't revoke a decree that he's already made. So instead, the king commissions Mordecai to issue a counter-decree. On the appointed day that all of the Jews were supposed to be killed, the 13th of Adar, now the Jews are ordered to defend themselves and to destroy any who plotted to kill them. Then Mordecai, Esther, and Jews everywhere hold banquets and feasts to celebrate this new decree, and Mordecai is elevated to a seat beside the king. Eventually, the decreed day comes, and the Jews triumph over their enemies. First, they destroy Haman's family, and then any other Persian officials who had joined in Haman's plot. And then on the second day, they get permission to destroy any who plotted against them throughout the entire kingdom. This results in joy and celebration as the Jews are rescued from annihilation. The story then tells about how Esther and Mordecai established by decree this annual 2-day feast of Purim to commemorate their deliverance from destruction. And the name of the feast comes from Haman's dice. Remember, Purim. The book concludes with a short epilogue as Mordecai is elevated as second in command in the kingdom, and we are told now with his royal greatness and splendor as the Jews thrive in exile. Now, step back. Notice how this whole story has been designed. The story was full of moments of ironic reversal, but we can now see the whole story is structured as an ironic reversal, right down to the details. So the king's splendor and feasts and decrees are mirrored by Mordecai's splendor and feasts and decrees at the end. Esther and Mordecai, they first saved the king, but now in the end they save all of the Jews. Then you have Haman's elevation and edicts and banquet that gets reversed by Mordecai's elevation and edict and banquet. And then at the center you have Esther and Mordecai's planning scenes, and then Esther's 2 banquets that act as a frame around the greatest moment of reversal in the whole story. Haman's humiliation and Mordecai's exaltation. Beautiful. Another fascinating feature of this book is the moral ambiguity of the characters. There's a lot of drinking and anger and sex and murder, of which Mordecai and Esther are a part. Not to mention their violation of many commands in the Torah, like marrying Gentiles or eating impure foods. And so the story is not putting Mordecai and Esther forward as moral examples, as if it endorses all of their behavior. But they are put forward as models of trust and hope when things get really bad. And so the book of Esther comes back to that question with which we begin, why God is not mentioned. The message of this book seems to be that when God seems absent, when his people are in exile, when they're unfaithful to the Torah, does this mean that God is done with Israel? Has God abandoned his promises? And the book of Esther says no. It invites us to see that God can and does work in the real mess and moral ambiguity of human history. And he uses the faithfulness of even morally compromised people to accomplish his purposes. And so the book of Esther asks us to be willing to trust God's providence even when we can't see it working. And to hope that no matter how bad things get, God is committed to redeeming his world. And that's what the book of Esther is all about.
And that means it's time to go for coffee.
There's nothing like Esther. One of the more exciting and curious books